My replayers, don't forget to double tap and swipe to follow. Morning, gang. Hey, Quex, Robin. All right, we got everybody kind of ready to go here this morning. San, where's everybody at? I know this is early for a lot of people, so thanks for hopping in. Amelia, hello. Sarah, hi, everybody. So I wasn't really planning on doing a runner scope this morning, but sometimes you guys send me emails and it just sparks a thought, and I figure, why not chat while I can? So anyhow, one of your favorite questions is basically running is hard. Why is it so hard? I've been trying for a really long time and it's still really hard. And the truth is, it's really hard for everybody. So I know that a lot of times you're watching the Instagram or you're seeing me post every day, about another run. And just because people are talking about their runs all the time doesn't mean that they're easy. Even the word easy run it's a misnomer. It's a horrible label. So why is running so hard? I think there are a few things, and I would love to hear from those of you who agree or your thoughts on this. But as kids, we run around all the time, but then we start to get to this point where we get in trouble for it, and we're told to stop running around, to sit down, to be quiet, and so we kind of stop, and then the only time that we really get to is if we happen to play a sport. And then after that, when we run, it's actually punishment. Does anybody else remember this? I played sports, and the only time we ran, occasionally there was a drill, but most of the time we ran because we were in trouble. And it was, late to practice or whatever. And so you really started to kind of hate running. Well, running is a hugely mental sport. And so if the only reason you've been running is because it was punishment for something awful you did at practice, then you start to have some negative connotations around it. And so then when you want to go run for exercise, well, you've already kind of set it up in your head, like you have to do this. It's exercise. I have to go for a run today. So now you're taking the fact that it was punishment as a kid. You've now decided that you want to do it as an adult, but you're doing it because it's exercise. So it's something you should do. So you've got all of these like negative mental ideas around it before you ever even head out the door. So yeah. Oh, running with PE. Okay. So I think people who don't know me, so for those of you who are new, hello, I'm Amanda, Run to the Finish. I've been running for about 13 years now. I'm a running coach. I have done many, many marathons, coached other people through it. So I know about the highs, the lows, everything in between. Here's the thing. When I started running, I always played sports, but running was a different thing. People would even say things to me like, it just doesn't really look very natural when you run. And I'm 5'9", so in my head, I looked like a beautiful gazelle. I didn't. I was kind of chubby, and they were just like, your legs don't really move right. So, I was sort of nervous about it. I got to college, though, and I needed to lose weight, so I should run. So again, the mental connotations of all the negative, hard things about running. I faked knee pain to get out of it. Then one day, some friends were going to do a half marathon, and I decided, you know what, that sounds like fun. It was a road trip. In college, road trip, hello, I would do just about anything. So I started running. It was freaking hard. It was hard. So just because you see me running marathons now and you see me posting every day that, hey, I did 9 miles, or I did my 10-mile progression run, and I did my 20 miles in the summer Florida heat, like, yeah, I do that shit now. That's 13 years of running in. At first, I did a mile, and you know what happened? I learned that after that 1 mile, I was so freaking proud of myself. 1 mile, that's all it took, 1 mile. And I think the reason that I am still a runner today is because I feel the same way now. I know that I can run a marathon, but every day that I choose to run that 1 mile, maybe that's it. Maybe I get 5 minutes in and it is just a sucktastic kind of day and I have to start walking. So I walk for a while, but you know what? I am still so proud of myself. And it is because running is not easy. It's not easy for the elites. It's not easy for the person who takes 7 hours to run a marathon. I have people come to me for coaching and they say, I don't know, I'm not really a real runner. I mean, I'm going to have to walk a lot of this. Are you kidding me? I have so much respect for the person who is willing to be out there for 7 hours. Do you know how hard that is? Can you imagine mentally getting yourself out there? That's phenomenal. That is running. Running. Hey, how are you? Where are you from? Yeah, say hi, guys. I'm loving the hearts. Thank you so much. I'm just so truly, I believe in this. It's hard, and that's okay. I think if you embrace the fact that running is hard, suddenly it gets a little bit easier. It's like when you're pushing and pushing and pushing on a door and you finally realize you need to pull. Sometimes you have to just let go a little bit, and that makes it a little bit easier. The mental aspect of running is the hardest one, I think, for almost anyone to conquer. So if you're willing to kind of do some of that work and just realize that it's okay for it to be hard, suddenly it gets a whole lot easier. So, all right, I see some of you just joining me now. So, hey, everybody. Thank you so much for the hearts. I'm loving you guys. Always tell me where you're at. Tell me what you're training for. It's my favorite thing to hear what's going on with you guys. So, kind of to recap for everybody who's just joining, one of the things that I get questions about a lot is why is running so hard? And what I was saying is I think a lot of it just has to do with the mental barriers we have around it. It starts with the fact that, we're told to stop running as kids because you need to be polite and sit and not fall in the pool or run around the restaurant. And then it becomes punishment as you move into sports. And so then it becomes, as an adult, something you should do for your health or for weight loss. And I think if we can find ways as you're starting out running and even as you're getting into new PR goals to shift that mindset a little bit and to find reasons to enjoy the run, it becomes hard in a different way. It becomes hard in a way that, good, Sarah, good. I'm glad this is helping you. So I think this is important. Running goes through phases. So there are points for me where, like I said, I've been doing this 13 years now, and there are points where I will go months and it's just like glorious. Every run is like a runner's high, and I come home and my husband's like, oh, it was a good run. He can tell the second I walk in the door how the day's run went. And then the next month, for what feels like no apparent reason, I am doing the same things, the same foods, the same everything. And I come home and one look and he kind of does this like, oh, I've got errands to run, and shoots out the door because he just knows it was a bad run. And that bad run then goes on the next day and the next day and the next day. And when I first started running, I would get so frustrated. And you know what? That would then just boil into everything and make every run even worse. And now I have this very weird thing. Not everyone agrees with it, but it works for me. When I have a bad run, I celebrate it. I celebrate that shitty run. And you know why? It's because I remember that every time I have a really crappy run, I am now going to really, really appreciate those good runs. And I also know that those crappy runs, a lot of the times, that is happening when your body is peaking. So you've now been training really hard for maybe weeks or months on end, and at some point your body has to catch up to that. And so all of those days that were feeling really good and you were putting in the speed work and you were putting in the long runs, eventually your body needs a second, and that might be your second. So when you're having some of those really tough runs, if you can look at them as, you know what, this is the point where my body is ready. It's changing. It's catching up to all of that hard work. So I'm going to give it a second. And instead of trying to continue to push it through a run that just doesn't feel good, it's okay. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to listen to a podcast. I'm going to listen to some music. You know what? Today is really bad. I'm going to take a walk with a friend. I'm going to do some yoga. it's okay to give your body a second. Now, there's a difference between lots of hard runs and, just pushing through a little bit of discomfort. Good, Amelia. I'm glad that this is helping. Mindset is just so huge in running. So that's the last point, is there is a difference between knowing a little bit of discomfort and knowing when things are just hard for too long for no good reason. So discomfort is, I haven't run this pace before. I haven't run this far before. I'm having a little trouble breathing. Gosh, my legs hurt a little bit. Hard is, man, I've run this 6-mile loop a ton of times. I've run this 1-mile loop a ton of times. And today it's taking me like minutes longer and everything hurts and I'm so exhausted and I can't hardly move. So you have to learn a little bit of knowing the difference, and you have to be okay with embracing the discomfort a little bit and kind of saying to yourself, it's cool. This is me growing. This is me growing. It's awesome. All right, gang. Yeah. So any questions or anything else, I'll keep chatting. Otherwise, I think I've gotten on my soapbox for the day. Thank you so much for the hearts. I'm glad that this one was really helpful. I think mindset is just a huge, huge, huge thing in running. So since it's something you guys seem to want to talk about, I will keep addressing a lot of the ways that I think it can help you to run faster or farther. And otherwise, I just need to keep hearing from you what you want to talk about on Runner Scope. So feel free to tweet me afterwards. Make sure you're swiping left to follow, and make sure you're sharing this on Twitter so we have other folks who can come get some inspiration too. All right, awesome, Sarah. You are welcome, Miss May. Thanks, everyone. Thanks so much for hopping in, for saying hi, and have a fantastic day. I'm sure I'll be back later today with more